put my money where my mouth was. I bought the company. One of our bigger clients, Harvard University, Stanford, the NIH. The challenge was during the COVID, a lot of the companies didn't make it. Being a made in America company, using made in America parts, it was really important to keep that integrity. And I ran a $1 billion commercial paper program where I would just borrow and trade, $400 million a day.
My name is Matthew Bordy with Prototype House. We're a full-service product development firm, and we have an amazing guest today. Felix is a client and a friend with Drew Scientific, and I'll let him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his product and some of the future plans with Drew Scientific.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate being here and to tell you a little bit about myself and the company. First, about myself, I'm a CPA by trade. My client, my former client, hired me to basically help Drew publish their financial statements, and that was about five and a half years ago. And then we did that. Then they wanted out of the U.S. market because it was easier not dealing with the regulatory bodies in the U.S. They decided to stay abroad and made a couple of personal investments, and I put my money where my mouth was, and I bought the company from them. Thank you very much. Through a leverage buyout. People always say, okay, how did you know? Well, I'm an accountant. It's like, we kind of know these inside things.
Yeah.
So through a leverage buyout, I bought the company back in 2020, right in the middle of COVID, and the company was pretty much limping along to its death, and they were helping it along. So anyway, long story short, I put some more money into the company, right-sized it, and divested the unproductive line of business and kept the most productive ones or most lucrative ones, which one is the HemaVet, which that's the project that we're working on.
That's our hero product.
Which I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a minute. And and of course we have our existing hematology line, diagnostics in the hematology world, that we're a very, very small atom in that universe, but with room to grow. The HemaVet now brings us to the HemaVet. It's diagnostic. It's helped in research. It's used in research, where basically it's a blood cell counter, and through research, through animal research, either mice. The HemaVet does several animals, including humans, for red blood cell, white blood cell, and platelet counts, and so on and so forth.
Amazing.
So the big clients like universities use them to run their research projects. TAs to senior professors, senior researchers, they use the HemaVet to basically support their case and their research. Some pretty big names, which I don't know if I'm allowed to give them out to you. But one of our bigger clients, Harvard University, Stanford, the NIH, National Institute of Health, the EPA, the FDA, to name a few.
It's a staple instrument.
It is.
In their arsenal that they go to, which is pretty amazing.
That historical data or the previous research, extent research that already exists in the ether right now. If you Google the HemaVet and Drew Scientific, and you'll see all the papers that have been in Google Scholar. You'll see all the papers that have been published already, and now other countries are following suit, because all you got to do is Google this machine, and there are other benefits than just the name and the brand power behind it, like the little bit of blood that's required to run the test, and its accuracy, and it's about the technology is I hate to say the word, it's old, but so is blood, so it doesn't really change. Introducing a laser would be a good idea, but our patented method of diagnostic ability goes way back, and it was founded by several scientists, one of which is named Drew. he's in England.
Okay.
I talked to his partner a while ago, and they were happy that I was trying to keep the brand alive, and I'm doing my darnest to keep it going. But there's a lot more to talk about. I guess I'll let you ask the questions.
Awesome. No, thank you for that intro, and that kind of leads us to the next step. I know we helped you with some, because the machine has been around for a while, some parts that are no longer available, and I remember when you first called us, you were in a little bit of a tight spot because, you're running out of a supply of a very specific part, and the part's very, fairly large, so it's, expensive to invest in a mold for maybe not that many production units.
Sure.
How was that, like, did that alleviate some stress?
Yes. So when I first bought, first got the company and was put at the helm, there were challenges. Which the easiest answer would be like, let's kill the project, let's kill the HEMA-Vet. But the researchers and universities were like, what are we going to do? And the alternative is going to the higher, more expensive competition, competitive units that are, I hate to say run of the mill, but they're also basic, but they involve a little bit more technology. But it was proven to me that keeping the HEMA-Vet and that line still alive as an option for researchers, because some of them get a budget, and that budget, our unit is right under that budget, that customary budget that a TA or like an assistant or a PhD researcher is given. The universities basically give them a budget, and they have to stick to it. So the challenge was during the COVID, a lot of the companies didn't make it. And being a made in America company and using made in America, parts, it was really important to keep that integrity. Yes, we could have outsourced, to some degree. Some of the parts that we buy in America could be made by our vendor and imported, but that's beyond our purview. Okay. So we buy it from American distributors, and we put it together right here in Texas. Well, we're in Florida, but
soon in Florida. Soon in Florida. Texas now.
Yeah, Texas
Florida.
now. Florida soon. But the idea of keeping this machine going, let's put it this way. In 2019, I believe we sold 4 units. 2020, we sold 1. And then after putting all the pieces together, 2021, we sold 21 units.
Beautiful. And
we're on 2022. We sold right around 30 units. This year for 23, we already pushed past 20 units. So we'll probably end up at about 40 if things keep on going, if we continue to produce.
Okay.
But that challenge with the significant part that you're referring to, we couldn't find anyone to make it. The mold was about $50,000, and you probably get 60. I forgot what the number is, but maybe like 60,000 units out of it. Not that we need that many units, but it was really clear that we needed to come up with an idea. And the prototype, go figure, you Google prototype in Florida, and then prototype house comes up, which is like brilliant, right? It was like, come up with a name. You sell potatoes. What's the name of the company? Potato Maker, right? So anyway, it was brilliant. And then I met you in Coconut Grove.
Yeah, we met in the Grove.
Yeah, that was when your office were in Coconut Grove. And then I pitched. I was like, I need this made. What can you do?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we got you. I was like, what? Just like that? Yeah, we got you.
No problem. No problem.
No problem. And sure enough, it was no problem. I mean, it took a while for us to get the quirks worked out, but at the end, we had a finished product that we were able to
install
and move with our customer. So,
and we're not showing you guys the part right now, but it had its intricacies, because it had to fit within a lot of different boundaries. But we're happy to make that happen.
Yeah.
And we're really looking forward to phase 2.0 for the HEMA-Vet. I think that'll bring a lot of excitement to the industry, and keep like the core value of the original machine.
I think I'm really excited about that, because what ends up happening is researchers don't necessarily care about the looks, but the people that pull the strings and the purse strings do care about why does this thing look kind of like it was made in the 80s? Because it was designed in the
The
80s.
80s. Yeah.
And a lot of our customers or potential customers do require innovation within a certain amount of time. So if it hasn't been innovated in 10 years, that almost was a problem for us. And I had to prove to SAM, the government website, the government body that governed, that there was innovation, that we had to change our CPU, we had to update our I/O board, we had to change certain mechanisms, we had to update the software. So
Keep
all those
everything.
things to bring the thing connecting. Something as simple as a parallel printer port to USB printer port, we had to integrate a USB printer and program it into the new board.
Wow.
So those are small things that our engineers are able to do, but we don't have an engineer team anymore. We used to have, in Texas, we must have had at least 8 engineers just
Wow.
churning out these designs. And it used to take months and millions of dollars to innovate. And then here I am, with about $2 in my pocket,
And you're
trying to
augment, have the team. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, not trying to change the core story, but definitely want to go ahead and bring it up to the 2000s. Well, 2020s.
We're gonna be there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's coming. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about being an entrepreneur. Obviously we're a product development firm, but a lot of our clients are aspiring. They want to take the leap from working corporate America to getting into entrepreneurship. And you started as being a CPA. Now running Drew Scientific, how was that leap in getting into the business? How did that feel?
In one answer, terrifying. But to elaborate a bit, it's almost your level of risk. Like as an accountant, I like my sandwich here. I like my drink here. Okay, I like to finish my sandwich. I separate my peas.
Yeah.
I try to compartmentalize everything, including my life and my business. When you're an entrepreneur, there's no compartmentalization. We were joking earlier that my entire life is essentially just at will or on call or basically pivoting. My wife tells me all the time, he was like, you're so wishy-washy. You change your mind. You change your mind so often. I was like, if it doesn't work, let's not dwell on it. Let's get something that works.
Move forward.
And let's move forward. And one thing that entrepreneurs hate to hear is the word no. But I welcome no, because that's an opportunity for me to go ahead and look for a way around it.
Yeah.
And then I get no at least 100 times a day. And that not all the no's turn to yeses, but the no's need to turn to at least maybe.
Maybe,
And then
yeah.
we'll find a way to win it. So every day as an entrepreneur is an absolute challenge, but you have to change your mindset to be flexible and to open. And problems are going to come in fast and furious. But the more problems you solve, the better you become at solving problems.
As they come.
As
the
they
more
come.
will come.
And more will come.
Yeah.
And you got to decide why you're doing it and whether or not you love it. Like I used to say that I love that line of the business, the hematology business. Not that I don't love chemistry, I just don't understand chemistry enough or haven't spent enough time. I know that there are other instruments out there that I will get involved with, but for now, the D3, which is our human hematology unit, as well as the Hemovet, are the ones that are keeping the lights on.
Awesome.
And the demand is growing, and
Which is great.
yeah, and you're just looking to hone in your skills as an entrepreneur. As a 13-year-old, what kind of 13-year-old aspires to sell toilet paper? Right. That was me. It was like one of those things where I need to find something that everybody needs.
Toilet paper is a money maker, by the way.
I imagine it is.
It is.
Especially when you're running out of it at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things you find a need and then you fill it and then make a margin.
Yeah.
And then do that over and over and then people flip houses, flip cars. I've owned a car dealership before. That's pretty difficult to keep. Yeah, I had a car dealership in Davie. Ran it for exactly a year. At that 1 year, I wasn't able to pay myself a salary, so I shuttered it. But as an entrepreneur, to answer your question, it's all figure it out as you go.
As
And
you
then
go.
and once you get that in your blood, any company is gonna love to have you, because they're gonna give you all the problems.
Oh yeah, 'cause you're gonna figure it out.
You know,
you know?
you're gonna figure it out,
Yeah.
and you become a really, really effective
Yeah.
employee. But it also makes for a very good CEO,
Yeah.
and
It- There's something I'd like to touch on
Yes.
with the yeses and the nos,
Okay.
which I really like. So I have clients that are trying to pitch their products into like retailers or distributors. So I tell them to put on a board 2,500 nos, because you're going to get that much closer to your yes.
Yeah.
And they'll usually get a yes before they reach the bottom of that 2,500.
Wow, that's
you know?
a really
But
neat.
at least you have a goal. Because if you're going throughout your day, email, you get a no, and then it's like, you never feel like you're getting closer to that yes.
Yeah.
But you are. You just have to keep pushing through.
Well, you know what? You're speaking to someone who needs to hear that, because from an investment perspective, I worked for a company where I was in investor relations as well as the capital markets, and people were always trying to give us money. It was a fairly largely well-known corporation, and I ran a $1 billion commercial paper program. Wow. Where I would just borrow and trade, $400 million a day, even up until $800 million of trading going back and forth. So now I'm with a $3 million company, and I'm scrounging around for $20,000.
Yeah.
I'm pinching pennies, and somebody tells me 1,000. It was like $1,000.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean $1,000? Well, most I can give you is 500. Yeah. So you become a very good negotiator. But to your point about yeses and nos, financial investors. I've been approached by several investors, and usually it gets to that conversation, and then once they find out what I have, they're like, okay, we want it all, and we're gonna write you a check for that. I was like, no, that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for, an investor to come in, and yeah, you can go ahead and invest in corporation, but I still run it. It's still my dream, and you're gonna get cash out of it. But so far, about 6 different investors have come up, and the conversation has been pretty steep, but that's because it requires time.
Yeah.
I have this mantra that is people, time, money. It was like those 3 pillars. I was going to write my PhD on it, but I decided it's too much work. But anyway, people, time, money. It's one of those things. With enough time and with enough people, and of course with enough money, you can do just about anything.
Yeah.
But one of those 3 things is going to be missing, if not all 3.
Look at Elon Musk, right?
Right. He started out. Money. Yeah, it was one of those things where he didn't have a pot to piss in, and all of a sudden, I mean, not a pot to piss in. He was loaded, and compared to what he is right now, maybe.
Absolutely. But anything he wants to do, he can do it
with enough time, and he's got people in his arsenal. Yeah, he can just send a rocket to the moon. Obviously he has.
Yeah.
But
great?
What people, time, money.
But it's true.
But you can mend all wounds mend with time.
Yeah.
And this is a very wounded company, and most investors that come in, they're like, this is going to require a lot of money. I was like, yeah. So if you don't give me your money, you can come in, but you give me your time as as an advisor.
Sure.
So it's that time, or you just volunteer your people, I'll get a 3 on all 3. So I have to do it all. So I put in my own money. I'm 2 or 3 people at a time, and then of course, time will tell how far I get.
You will go far. You're that much closer to a yes.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those investors. We actually have a podcast coming up with one of our family office that's local.
Really?
I'll introduce you to them.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
And they have like a group, but apparently there's like these, behind closed doors meetings with multiple family offices, and they all talk about the deals that they've seen and this and that.
Interesting.
That's the room I'd want to be in.
That's definitely the room that we want to be in.
That'd be incredible. But I really appreciate you coming today. No. And it's a pleasure working with you and getting to know you over the past couple of years, Felix.
You're a good guy, man.
So we'll go far. It's going to keep going.
I think so. I liken everything to what I'm going through with being in the ring with Mike Tyson. And then you just getting beat up. You probably got knocked out, didn't even realize you were knocked out. But sooner or later, he's going to show his chin.
And you have to hit it with everything you got.
And everything you got. He might rub it off, but you're going to get a hit in.
Yeah, you will.
And so it's just a matter of time.
That's true.
Just a matter of time.
That's
so
true.
I appreciate it. And you got to have good friends in your corner.
That's true.
That's an important lesson for an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Without
time.
that, that's one of the most important, I think.
Yeah.
Is the people component.
Yeah, that people component is a big piece.
Yeah.
They can take down your business.
So I say, like, keep going for the yeses.
Yeah, that 2,500 yeses. Was it 25 or 2,500?
2,500.
Holy moly.
Yes. Because I figured, the number needs to be really high because there has to be a yes in 2,500 no's.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least there's a few maybes. I wouldn't be surprised if there's multiple yeses in 2,500.
You got to pitch, man. You got to pitch your ideas, and I'm very grateful to have someone like you in my life. So it's one of those things that your team, and I boast about you all the time. And I don't know if anybody ever like called you. I was like, Felix told me to call you, but I think it's one of those things where so many good ideas just don't get made. I'm not joking. I invented the Game Boy. Okay, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I had my Atari 2600, and I wanted to take it everywhere with me. I even hooked it up with the TV in my car, with the Atari 26. Not the Atari 2600, the Nintendo.
Oh,
Nintendo. Me and my friend hooked it up, and we played in the car.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We invented the Game Boy. They should have came to me. But anyway,
that'd be awesome.
I'm just kidding. But thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.